Good evening, welcome to the Game Week 7 knee-jerk stream. Lots to talk about this week. It was quite a busy game week. Lots of players getting points. I think last week a lot of us had bad game weeks, but it didn't really matter because everyone else had bad game weeks. This week, a little bit different. I think some people have had okay weeks, some people have had bad weeks, and some people have had great weeks. So there is a bit of a split in terms of which players did well, but either way, I hope you are all doing good, especially those of you that are watching live in the chat right now. Seeing with some big scores, 89, 76 all out, 102 points, Nick with 99. Crazy. I wish I got rid of Bruno, I wish I got rid of Rashford. I mean, that's the way FPL goes sometimes, right? I mean, Man United midfielders have been a big topic of conversation. As I said last week, before Fernandes got points this week, straight away, first couple of game weeks, Fernandes is the better option. Next couple of game weeks, Rashford is the better option. All of a sudden, it's going to flip back to Fernandes now, and that always happens in FPL. So sometimes you just got to be patient and stick with the good fixtures. And I think it was a good decision to keep both of them for Burnley away, even if Rashford didn't get any points. Similarly, I think it was a pretty good decision not to get Salah, because to get Salah, I would have had to sell one of Fernandes, Son or Saka. And to be fair, it would have maybe been, to fund it, I would have had to bring in Gordon, who did really well, but he was benched, wasn't he? So that wouldn't have necessarily been a great decision. 49 and feel like deleting my app. Yeah, that's not great this week, but, there's surely better weeks to come. Are we all rolling this week? I suspect a lot of Chilwell owners are not rolling. I suspect a lot of Jackson owners are not rolling. So if you've missed it, Jackson, 5th yellow card. That's 5 1-pointers in the first 6 weeks. I will always stand by the fact Jackson was not a bad pick. But it has gone terribly. Absolutely terribly. So he's suspended now. A lot of people are going to think about getting in Morris. I don't hate that whatsoever. I guess the only thing to consider is that gonna are you gonna be happy with that pick moving forward after the double game week? But otherwise, I kind of like him. I think with Chilwell, my initial thought was he has to go, which I think is a perfectly valid opinion. But because Gusto got red carded and he's going to miss game week 7 and 8. Chilwell might start Fulham away and Burnley away. I think a lot of it is going to rest on Reece James, because obviously they've been playing Colwill left centre back, Thiago Silva Colwill left back, Thiago Silva left centre back, Disasi right centre back, and then Gusto or James in game week 1 right back. But now Gusto's not there. James is probably not going to be back. Could it be Disasi right back, Thiago Silva right centre back, Colwill left centre back, and then Chilwell left back? Now, left back he's not going to be as attacking, obviously he's playing left wing, but could we keep him for one more week? I'm considering it. It's a tricky one for me because I have the exact money to go Chilwell to Trippier, but Chilwell's going to drop in price tonight, and as soon as that happens I don't have the money anymore. And obviously Trippier looks like a great option. He did before this week, but getting 3 assists is obviously going to help as well. But if I do Chilwell to Trippier, it pretty much locks me in, I think, to a wild card in game weeks 9 or 10, which I don't think is a bad move, but I also don't like being forced into that. Like now, I don't want to make that decision tonight. I don't want to have to think about whether I'm definitely wild carding or not in game week 10. I think it's pretty easy to get to Salah without a wild card, and I'm starting to wonder whether I really need it. A lot of the reason to wild card for me is to get rid of Pickford, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Good shout on Dallo in the YouTube shorts. Yeah, cheeky punt on Dallo. I mentioned that. Fair play if you bought him in. I mean, to be fair, I said this on Twitter last night. Onana, I'm sure everyone's frustrated with him, but he's had 2 clean sheets from the 3 games you would have expected a clean sheet. I think Spurs away, Arsenal away, Brighton at home. Not really much of a guarantee of a clean sheet. Wolves at home, Forest at home, Burnley away. Much better, and he's got 2 clean sheets in 3 of those. Now, obviously, Man United have not looked great in defence. I get it. But he's actually done all right. Gordon looked really good. Question his minutes. Absolutely. But the reason he came on was because Barnes got injured. So we need to wait and see how long Barnes is out for. And if he's out for a little while, then Gordon could be a nice cheap option if you need that kind of player in your team. Look, I'm saying Man United definitely haven't defended well. But can they get any worse? Probably not. You'd expect them only to improve, I would hope, especially with like Amrabat in there, etc. But we'll see what happens. I certainly wouldn't be going out of my way to buy Man United players in general, let alone defenders. You thought you had a good week, but still can't get a green arrow. So I'm on a red arrow. Only a small one, but I am on a red arrow with 70-something points, 74 points. I've fallen from like 800 and something K to 961K. The thing is, there's just lots of players that did well. Like, I've got Fernandes 10 points, Son 12, Saka 10, and Botman 12. But Trippier did really well. Burn did really well. Shah obviously got a clean sheet as well. Mitoma did really well. Salah got another 10-pointer. Foden did well. Lots of players scored well that we didn't necessarily all own. And Mitoma's ownership, for example, was quite high. So, and again, I think people, when they saw he was benched, were probably really happy they got rid of him. And then he comes on at half-time and absolutely smashes it. Absolutely smashes it. So, yeah. Took the double Newcastle defence and Wilson punt. Very nice. I mean, the Wilson punt, he could have had a lot more. He only finished with 6 points. If anything, that's like... No, it's not a bad result because obviously he did better than Alvarez, but it could have been so much more that game. Double Newcastle defence, yep, good. We've been saying that for a couple of weeks now. Like, this is where I think underlying stats are kind of helpful because the defences look good. They just haven't had the results, and now they've got the clean. Now they've got the fixtures. The clean sheets are starting to roll in, and I don't think that was necessarily unexpected. So yeah, double up looks good. The more weeks you don't do that, obviously the less viable it's going to come because the good fixtures will start to run out. But yeah, it looks good. I can do Chilwell to Trippier. It's very tempting. I mean, I don't know if I'm that annoyed about not doing Trippier. The thing is, I could have done Chilwell. I could have done Chilwell and Saliba to Trippier Botman last week if I'd gone early and just not got Alvarez and got Jackson instead. And this week I'd just be getting Morris. So I could have had Trippier and Son. Is what it is. Not much I can do about that. I mean, the other thought I had was to do Chilwell to Botman this week and bench Saliba and play Kabori. Then I'd be an extra 5 points up. So, I mean, that's just a classic FPL thing. No matter how good or bad a week goes, it's always something you could have done better. I'm just glad that Son got 2 goals because my transfers in have not been very good. And so to do Sterling to Son last week looked really bad. And now, obviously, Son is 12 points ahead of Sterling and looks much better going forward. And I think that's 3 games in a row now that he's played number 9. I don't see that changing. I mean, it was Brennan Johnson that played left wing today. I think that is Son's spot. I'm not saying he's going to play there 90 minutes because he either gets subbed early or he might move to the left if Richarlison comes on. But I think Son is looking pretty good moving forward, I would say. Liverpool at home, Luton away, Fulham at home. I definitely want him for all those games. I'll tell you now, though, there is some tricky decisions coming up because we all know we want Salah, but it's how you get him, when you get him, and who you sell, which I guess is how you get him. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Timing is going to be key. And I said this to someone on Twitter earlier. I've mentioned Twitter quite a lot. A lot of this season, especially at the moment, of probably for the foreseeable future, until like double game weeks, we're just going to be selling good players for other good players. Like, unless someone gets injured, like Martinelli, for example, right? Obviously that's an easy sell to someone else. You're not going to get punished by that because he's not going to play. But if you haven't got injuries, you're going to be selling good players for other good players and just hoping that you're the one that gets lucky. Like, I've sold Watkins to Jackson, Martinelli to Sterling, Sterling to Son, Jackson to Alvarez. I mean, you could say Jackson's not a great player, but yeah. Yeah. You only outscored me by 4 after my nightmare wildcard. True, but you could look at it a different way. I've outscored you by 4 and I've still got my wildcard. But yeah, Dan Burn, absolute legend. Absolute legend. He kind of does put me off using the wildcard anytime soon, though. It's tricky. It's very tricky. Let me see some of these questions. When does it justify a -4 if your only real worry in life is about one football player? I own Eze and think about Eze versus Mbermo more than my whole family. Probably just stop thinking about it, I guess. Like, whichever one you've got is probably okay to hold. I'm thinking about bringing Eze in soon. I'm thinking about bringing Eze in. The bonus points updated. Cool. Like I really wish Rashford had scored against Burnley, but to get 13 points between him and Fernandes, I'm kind of okay with that. I think it was the correct call not to get Salah this week, so I'm happy with that decision. Got to try and think more positively because right now it feels like every decision I make is just bad. Darren Noodles, delicious. Yeah, Darwin Nunez played midweek and then still started at the weekend. As an Eze owner, don't. His team is so bad. I get it. I do get it. I get why Eze owners are not liking him, but he is nailed on penalties. 6.3 million. It's tempting. Let me show you why I'm saying I don't know if I definitely need to wildcard. Right. Let me just take you through the different routes a second. Let me just bring this up now. Just waiting for it to load. So these are potentially my moves, and lots of people are going to be in similar situations. Now, Pickford was rubbish this week, right? We all know that. But, do you know what I haven't done? Oh, no, I have done it. Okay, nice. Pickford was rubbish, right? Fully agreed on that. But I knew he wasn't going to get a clean sheet this week anyway. And I bet most people that wildcarded got Flecken, and Flecken conceded 3 goals and Pickford only conceded 1. So I know Leno and Johnson did well, and fair play if you own them. But if I'd wildcarded last week, I would have got Flecken. So to keep Pickford and get 2 points, okay, it's not great, but I'm okay with the decision. And I think he's got Luton at home this week, so I'm not really worried about him. Why is Saliba in my team? I've got rid of Saliba. This hasn't updated. Let me see if I can just reset this a second. Maybe it hasn't pulled in my... I might have to not... This is no good if it's not gonna... If it hasn't pulled in... Oh, there you go. It's because I hadn't reset it. Right, so this is my team for this week. As it stands, I've got Chilwell ahead of Estepinian. So I'm going to run through my thoughts about how to get Salah without a wildcard. So this week... I could roll. If I think Chilwell is going to play, I could roll. But let's just say I'm going to transfer him out. I've got 1 transfer. So Chilwell goes for maybe Dalot. Maybe Dalot. Probably Share. Because I won't be able... Let's just ignore Trippier for now. So that team's fine. Okay, I'm happy to keep Rashford and Fernandes before anyone moans. I've got Son versus Liverpool at home, Saka against Bournemouth away. Oh, by the way, another reason I don't want to do the Chilwell to Trippier move early is because Saka did seem to be limping when he went off. Now, he always gets kicked around. So I don't think it's probably a big issue, but it would be nice to just wait. You're talking about rolling, meanwhile I just activated my wildcard. Yeah, I mean, it all depends on Chilwell, but I could potentially roll, or I could play Estepinian. But let's just say I get sharing. In game week 8, I play Udogie ahead of Kabori. He's got Luton away, Pickford's got Bournemouth at home, and then West Ham away from both my Newcastle defenders. And Mbeumo's got Man United away, but he has Burnley at home in game week 9, so that's not a problem. The player to get rid of is Saka. Now this week in game week 8 where kind of some of the key decisions are for my team. If I get rid of Saka, and this probably makes a lot more sense if you're watching than if you're just listening, but hopefully you can follow along, and I get a cheap midfielder, either Eze or Diaby. I'm just going to put Eze in for now because he has Forest at home, I think, this week. Yeah, Forest at home in game week 8. Then my team in game week 8 would be Alvarez and Haaland against Arsenal away, which is fine, right? Most people have got that combination. Rashford and Fernandes against Brentford at home. Son against Luton away. I wouldn't have Maddison, so that's one reason, maybe 2 wildcard, because it allows me to get Maddison in and dead end my team. But Eze against Forest at home and Mbeumo against Man United away, and the defence looks fine. In game week 9... I then have 3.8 million. So in one move, I can get rid of Rashford or Son. I've got 12.7 million. And I can just get Salah. And then this would be my team in game week 9 with 3 transfers and no wildcard. Yeah, I don't get me wrong. Well, I don't mind getting rid of Saka for game weeks 8 and 9. But I would want him back. So that is in my thoughts. But this would be my team then. Botman and Share against Palace at home. Udogie against Fulham at home. I would play Turner instead of Pickford. Hopefully he's still first choice by then. Son against Fulham at home. Fernandes against Sheffield United away. I'd have Salah for Everton at home. Eze's got Newcastle away, but he's got Spurs at home, Burnley away straight after. And then Burma's got Burnley at home. And then the 2 Man City have got Brighton at home. Now, if I wildcard, I would have a slightly better team, but I don't know if it's much better. Is it wildcard worthy? That is the question I'm asking for. No, so Stephen, this is the question, right? The wildcard's not just for Salah. Yes, 100%. But how many different players would you have from this team? Goalkeeper, yes, of course, you'd have Areola and or Flecken. I get that. So goalkeeper is one move. Who else would you have? Cash. Okay, Cash is good. But do I need him when I've got Udogie, Botman and Cher with Fulham at home, Palace at home? I don't know if I do, right? And then this is game week 9, by the way. Game week 10 is where I would actually wildcard. And then, okay, it doesn't look quite as good. But Estepinian comes in, Fulham at home, because he's still sat on the bench. And I've got Cher and Udogie against Crystal Palace away, Wolves away. So if I had Cash, okay, he's got Luton at home. That is good. But I guess that is the question. Is that wildcard worthy enough? Is that wildcard worthy enough? See, okay. So this is where I'm going to play devil's advocate, right? I'm going to go back to the FPL page because this is a common point that people keep making, right? You're going to want triple Aston Villa on wildcard, but are you? Are you going to want triple Aston Villa on wildcard? Let's build a wildcard team. Let's assume that everyone keeps Alvarez, okay? Get rid of Man United players because they're terrible. They're never going to get you points ever again. You probably go for Diaby, right? You probably don't keep in Burma on Game Week 10 wildcard. You maybe go for Eze. I think most people will go for Matoma because the Bournemouth fixtures are great. Brighton fixtures are great. Most people are going to have Cash. Fully agree. Good option. This is the team, right? And bearing in mind, Arsenal have got Sheffield United at home, Newcastle away, Burnley at home, Brentford away, Wolves at home from Game Week 10. So without fiddling around with kind of Udogie and Botman, and let me just put in Areola. Okay, so you might have really good team value compared to me, but how do you fit Watkins into this team? You got 0.5 million, you've got to downgrade. The easiest way to downgrade is Son or Saka. You don't want to do that, right? And even if you went Son to Fernandes, I think that just about gives you the money. Yeah, that allows you to get Watkins. But would I be happy with Fernandes as one of the midfielders? Maybe. But I don't know if Villa is like a certainty. I don't have Rashford. I don't have Son. So do we need Watkins? And so if the answer is no, then why do I need the wild card to get triple Villa when I can get them? When I can get close to it anyway? Like I could bring in Cash this week for Chilwell and be one step ahead. So this is where I'm at with the wild card. I think the biggest issues with not wild carding is I probably can't get Trippier this week. I can't dead end with Maddison for Luton away, Fulham at home. And what's the other thing? I've probably got to buy someone like Eze now, whereas on Game Week 10 wildcard, I probably wouldn't have Eze. They're the three main things. But obviously you get to save it for later in the season, which may or may not be better. So I don't know. I don't know if wildcard is definitely needed. I agree with Cash and Diaby. I just don't think the Watkins is a necessity. And obviously, if I don't wildcard, I have to keep Pickford a little bit longer, and that's not necessarily great. So it's interesting. I just don't want to make the decision tonight, and I feel like I can just give myself some thinking time. And if I have to, I'll do Chilwell to Cher instead of Trippier, I guess, which isn't as good, but sometimes needs must, right? Yeah, that's fine. You could go for Darwin because Liverpool's fixtures are great, but he's almost as much as Watkins anyway, right? So you're still going to have to make some other sacrifices elsewhere. My main point is, if you go and build a wildcard team for Game Week 10, look at the sacrifices you have to make, and then look at how close you can get to that team without a wildcard. Because you can't have Son and look, Rashford and Fernandes, for example, I get it, right? Nobody wants them right now. They all want Son, Maddison, Saka, etc. Perfectly valid. But if Rashford was to do well over the next couple of games, like Palace at home, Brentford at home, Sheffield United away, then all of a sudden, the conversation around him will change. This happens all the time. Everyone can tell me right now they definitely don't want Rashford. If he does well against Brentford and Sheffield United, all of a sudden, conversation changes. I promise you it will happen. And then after Man City at home in Game Week 10, it's Fulham away, Luton at home, Everton away. Like 3 pretty good fixtures. Now after that, you don't necessarily need Man United players, but maybe that's the time you switch to someone else. So it's tricky. It's tricky. I don't think there's necessarily a right or a wrong answer, but it's something you should definitely think about. Is Jackson a sell? Yes. You're going to miss Fulham away, but after Burnley away, the fixtures aren't great anyway. A few assets are increasing in price tonight. Newcastle ones especially. Yeah, I hate moving early. Are we sleeping on Chelsea players? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we're probably okay not to go from now. Geez, lots of players could be going up in price tonight. Yeah. Including Aston Villa ones. I hate moving early. But there may be a lot of people who just wildcarded. It's all ifs with Man United players. I completely agree. And again, I'm not telling people to go and buy Man United players. I'm not saying you need them on your wildcard. I'm just saying, after years of doing streams, it only takes a couple of goals and suddenly the narrative changes all the time. All the time. Like last week, what was the narrative? Well, yeah, you bought in Son. That was a massive knee-jerk. He'd only done well in one game. I'm pretty certain Son's going to get a lot more buys now with Liverpool at home, Luton away, Fulham at home. Changes quickly. And the same will happen with Man United players. Just look at what I said earlier, right? Start of the season, it's all about Fernandes. Done really well. But then Rashford gets 2 assists against Forest and a goal against Arsenal. Well, maybe I'll get rid of Fernandes and keep Rashford. And I guarantee you now the conversation's the other way around. It happens all the time. All the time. My Gusto red card. Gusto got red carded. Who should I replace him with? Probably a Newcastle defender, to be honest. Maybe Cash if you got the money. The problem is Cash plays Brighton at home this week. It's not a great fixture for a clean sheet, I don't think. In Burmo out, probably not for me. Probably not for me. Oh, yes. I noticed how everyone was talking about the Mbermo Foden bet, but haven't mentioned it for 4 weeks. I think there's one more week on that bet, but Foden is ahead. Foden is ahead. I think we made it before the Bournemouth game. Was it? Oh, no. So, before the Palace game, I think. So 2-8. I think there's one more week. I'm pretty sure. 2, 8, 10, 13. Foden's definitely ahead. Well ahead now. I can't believe he's got all those dodgy assists. He's absolutely smashed it, in fact. 9, 20, 22. So Mbermo needs a big week against Nottingham Forest away. I think that bet is lost. I think Foden's going to outscore him. Although, it doesn't really matter at this point, because all Foden owners bottled it, and they've mostly sold him anyway. Does Chilwell come back in with Gusto suspended? I kind of talked about that earlier. I think it's possible. Yeah, I think it's possible. Tom Meaney, 14 months member. Thank you very much. What would you do with Luis Diaz if you had him? Keep or sell, as I still have Chilwell? I think Chilwell's probably a bigger issue to deal with. I mean, Luis Diaz looks to be first choice, so you could keep him for now. But like, it's just like he's one of those players. Like at some point, he'll probably get benched. How many games until that happens? Obviously, hard to tell. Abby Manu, 2 free transfers. Jackson to Morris already done. 1.8 in the bank. Second change, Mubama to Calvert-Lewin, Eze to Madison, or start Bayer / Eze and roll. I wouldn't want to necessarily start Bayer away to Newcastle, but Eze is okay to hold, I think. I mean, Eze to Madison's a pretty good move. Again, it depends when you're wildcarding and stuff like that. But I kind of really want Madison for Luton away, Fulham at home. So I'm tempted to kind of dead end. Anyway, tonight I want to talk about Sky Fantasy Football instead. I did better in that. I've got the money to go from Mbermo to Salah. I mean, yeah, go for it. I like Mbermo. I don't like him that much. And everyone thinks I hate Salah because I haven't got him in my team. I love Salah. I think if you've got the money to go from Mbermo to Salah, that seems pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Chilwell going up tonight. Chilwell's going down tonight. Going down. But look, I've got the exact money. 6.5 million for trips. For good old Trippier. It's so tempting. It's so tempting. Just lock in the wild card. Because just to go back to Fantasy Football Hub a second. But if you want to check all this stuff out, links in the description as always. If I just reset, oh no, can I? Yeah, let me just reset this team a second. Let me get off this. Let me import it again. Trippier is very tempting. Trippier is very tempting indeed. Okay, so let me just run back through this team really quickly. Chilwell to Trippier. So obviously I'd have double Burnley defense. Sorry, double Newcastle defense against Burnley. Kabori with a double game week this week. and everyone else I'm kind of okay to hold, especially Son. I'm loving him now. Game week 8, obviously you just have both of them against West Ham. And I would do Saka. I think either way, Saka is going in game week 8 for me. And I'd have the money to go to Maddison because obviously he's cheaper. So with that part, I've got triple Spurs against Luton away and Fulham at home. I also think, I can't do it now, but I don't know, Alvarez against Arsenal away, I'm kind of wishing I'd set myself up to take a punt this week instead. But I wouldn't have the spare transfer to do it. And then game week 9 before the wild card, you'd have the double Newcastle against Palace, triple Spurs against Fulham at home, Fernandes and Rashford against Sheffield United away, which I think now looks really good, right? In Burma against Burnley at home, and the two Man City boys. So unless something went wrong with any of these players, I'd probably be making a goalkeeper change. And I've got 5.1 million to spend. So probably someone like, I don't know, Martinez. No, probably not Martinez. I don't know who actually this week. Flecken. I think Flecken's got Burnley at home, right? So I'd probably just bring Flecken in. And that would be the team. Then I just wildcard. So I think getting Trippier and then Maddison for Luton away, Fulham at home is quite tempting. Although Saka's obviously on penalty, so he could get points any week. Maybe Onana, yeah, possibly. But away from home, I'd probably go for Flecken instead at home. Although, I don't know, Brentford, I have to wait and see. So, yeah, that's my decisions. Get Trippier and wildcard game week 10 or don't get Trippier. Yeah, maybe Onana, maybe Onana. I don't know. Because part of me is just thinking, why are you trying to put the wild card off? But part of me is also thinking, like, I just don't need it. But anyway, I've probably talked about wild card too much so far. So let me try and get some other questions. Turner does have Luton at home game week 9, but I wouldn't have any other moves to make. So are we overreacting to Newcastle against Sheffield United? No, like, not really. I've spoken, to be fair, to myself for once. I mentioned Trippier 2 weeks ago. Everyone was saying about how little clean sheets Newcastle have had, etc. I mentioned Trippier 2 weeks ago. I said before this week, double Newcastle defence looks good. So this isn't knee-jerk just because they've done well. This isn't. I haven't changed my opinion all of a sudden on Newcastle whatsoever. Sorry, would you suggest wildcard this week instead of your plan in game week 10 if you don't have any Newcastle, Salah or Villa? No, because I don't think Villa, like, I know we've talked about Villa having a fixture swing from game week 8, but I think you really want them from game week 10. Brighton at home is not a good fixture for a clean sheet. You might get an attacking return, but it's not a good fixture for a clean sheet. Wolves away and West Ham at home. Look, if I already owned a player and I didn't really want to get rid of them, they had Wolves away, West Ham at home. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with those fixtures, but they don't scream to me you have to have Villa players. I think it's game week 10 onwards you really want them. Luton at home, Forest away, Fulham at home, then Spurs away, then Bournemouth away. That's the 5 fixtures you really want them. So I wouldn't wildcard just to get Villa players right now. And Salah, look, Salah's good, but he can wait in my opinion. And Newcastle you can just use your transfers on. So I probably wouldn't wildcard. I also don't think this is a great week to wildcard because of the double game week. Because if you wildcard, you don't really want to not go for double game week players, but then you're also then stuck with them. So if anything, if I wanted to wildcard, I would be quite tempted to just use transfers and just go for a punt on a rubbish double game week and then wildcard out of it in game week 8. Although that is before the international break, so maybe people don't want to do that. 8 goals and we're not talking about Newcastle forwards. Well, yeah, but we're not talking about them precisely because, I mean, Wilson and Isak got 1 each, but even forgetting that, it's because we don't know who's going to start long term, do we? That's the problem. I mean, I think Wilson's definitely going to start Burnley at home now. I think Isak will start against Man City, but I don't know. I just don't know if long term they're worth that headache. And also, we're not talking about because everyone's just bought Alvarez. We surely can't be selling Alvarez straight away, right? If I still had Jackson, I'd probably get Morris. Probably. I haven't seen any news on the Barnes injury yet, no. You seem very adverse to taking hits. I'm fine with hits as long as they're worthwhile. I think most people talk themselves into hits for long-term moves, and most of the time they don't need them. Take Salah, for example, right? Everyone said last week, got to get Salah in for Man United midfielders, even for a hit, and it wouldn't have been worth it because Fernandes got 10 points. So you do want points in the immediate future as well. I just don't think I've needed a hit so far. Look, I could have done Chilwell to Trippier for a hit, and obviously that would have paid off massively. But I think that's a little bit of hindsight. I don't know if I don't know. Probably wouldn't have agreed that a hit was worth it before. And plus, I could have played Kabori. I said that. And so Kabori plus a hit was 9 points. Would you have bet on Trippier definitely outscoring 9 points? Probably not. Now it looks obvious, right? But I don't think it does before. So I don't know. Like, I will take plenty of hits this season, but not usually early on, because we're only 6 weeks through. I've obviously had a wild card. I haven't had many transfers to make. So, I mean, that's part of the thing. I've just not had many moves to make, so I've been able to roll quite a lot. The highest scorers in the Premier League are being ignored. Who's that? Is it Newcastle now? But this is the same argument. Is it Newcastle? Is that what we're saying? This is the same argument for Man City, right? Unless you're sure about the minutes, they're not worthwhile. Like, if you're sure that Wilson starts the next 3 Premier League matches, get him. He'll be brilliant. He'll be one of the best forwards in the league. I said that last week. I said if you think Wilson, I said if Wilson starts the next 4 game weeks, he's better than Alvarez, and I stand by that, right? I mean, Alvarez did get propelled to like crazy levels of essentialness, but yeah, definitely. If Wilson starts the next 3, I'd rather have him than Alvarez. Is it too late to buy Son? Nope, definitely not. Liverpool at home. I mean, do you really need him for Liverpool at home? Not necessarily. Although I've got to be honest, watching how Spurs played today, they're definitely going to score against Liverpool, I would say. He played number 9 again. I don't see that stopping anytime soon. And then it's Luton away, Fulham at home. Oh, sorry. Brighton have scored. Yeah, but okay. Brighton have scored the most goals. Who do we buy? Who's going to be nailed to start every week? Ferguson only played a half. João Pedro was benched again. Matoma was benched. March was benched, I think. Right? Welbeck. Who'd you get? It doesn't matter if they don't play. It's the same as Man City. It's a little bit different this season because Foden and Alvarez minutes look really good. But it's exactly the same conversation. Son's not nailed on penalties, no. Definitely not. I got away with absolute murder. I gambled on Chilwell starting and bench Gusto. Oh, yeah, I saw... See, I said on Deadline Show I would have started Gusto ahead of Chilwell. And that looked good before the game started. Check your overall points in the screen. But I'm not sure what you mean. They're on 74. That's what I got. Would you play in a Canberra and bench Maddison? No. Some will play out wide against Liverpool. I really don't think he will. They've got... I mean, Perisic is out, but Brennan Johnson can play there and Solomon as well. I just don't see it. I do think if Richarlison plays, he will play up front. I don't think he'll play on the left. But, yeah, I don't think Son's going to move left. It could happen. I do think there was no chance of it happening against Arsenal. But maybe against Liverpool at home. Possibly. What strategy would you recommend in bringing in 3 Newcastle defenders? I'm not sure what you mean. You just use transfers, right? Yes, Ange did say he liked Son in the post-match interview, number 9. Yes, that is correct. Are there any FPL therapists out there I can talk to? That's what this stream is for. A little bit of therapy. Therapy, I was going to say then, with an F. Okay, let's see if we've got any different questions. This is probably going to be saying, I have 2 transfers. I want to get rid of Gusto and Jackson. Wanted Morris and Trippier, but I'm 0.2 short. What would you do? Look at 2 different players, I guess. Morris and Cher. I mean, it's not really anyone cheaper than Morris that you'd want to buy and play, to be honest with you. So I think you've got to ditch the Trippier idea. I mean, you could take a hit, maybe. Depends what the hit is, though. Matoma Rashani can still return coming off the bench. Yeah, look, we always say this when it happens, but let's be honest, we don't want to buy players that are on the bench. Most FPL managers, when they see a player's bench, that's like weekend ruin. So I don't agree, really. And also, they've got... This was Bournemouth at home. It was a good fixture. I mean, to be fair, they haven't had... not all their fixtures have been easy so far, but Villa away, Man City at home. Sorry, what is it? It's Villa away, Liverpool at home, Man City away, next 3. I'm just not going to rush out to buy Brighton players. And like here's the thing for me, right? I mean, Mitoma's good. I quite like Mitoma, but I'm not until game week 10 now if I didn't already own him. If you own him, you could keep hold of him for sure. But like anyone outside of that, and even Mitoma, you just don't know if they're going to start. So I don't know. I just can't get on board with it really. Maybe Matoma in game week 10, but I'm not thinking about it before that. I think Trippier's minutes are probably going to be fine. I think all the rotation with Champions League was overblown, so it'll probably be fine. Yeah, Estepinian's good, but again, doesn't keep many clean sheets. Don't need him for the next 3 weeks, really. And also, I don't even know where Matoma fits into this midfield. There's no one I really want to sell, so... don't know. Would you bring in Morris to bench Madison or in Burmo? Probably not, because then it's a transfer to get rid of him again as well. Do I regret not starting the season with Salah? Not really. I mean... I could just say, yeah, I regret not having all the players that scored points, but I don't think it was a bad decision, to be honest with you. Again, you go back to game week 3, and lots of people that had Salah started to sell him after only a couple of game weeks, so I don't know. Triple West Ham next week. Yeah, I would rush out and buy West Ham players, because buying players before they play Sheffield United at home never goes wrong. Never goes wrong. Mentioning Matoma scoring off the bench is to counter the argument that De Zerbi rotation will affect players' starting reliability. Alvarez starting reliability same as Matoma. That's debatable. Alvarez hasn't been benched yet. Like, players can score off the bench, sure, but like if I told you now Matoma was going to get benched once or twice over the next 5 games, you wouldn't buy him, would you? I just don't think you would. Genuine non-anti-Man United question. In your wildcard, why would you rather sell Saka over Bruno to get Salah? Is it a pure money decision? It is if you want Watkins. Although I would have Saka in game week 10 probably over Fernandes. If I had the money. Would you do Jackson, Martinelli and Edison to Archer, Salah and Areola -4? I mean, you're selling... 2 players that probably aren't going to play, and Edison, I think that seems okay, and Areola is good for the future, yeah. I do think Raya could be good, yeah. I think like there's still some Arsenal fans that seem convinced that Raya is not definitely number 1. I'm not sure what more they need to see. Look, I'm not saying that Ramsdale can't come in at some point, so maybe that would put me off enough to not have Raya, but it seems pretty clear to me right now he is Arsenal's number 1 first choice goalkeeper. And if he continues to play, he'll do well. The only thing I would say is, next 3 game weeks, Bournemouth away is pretty good, but then it's Man City at home, Chelsea away. I mean, Chelsea can't score, so maybe that fixture will be fine. But I don't know if there's a rush to get him. What's the wildcard chip? It's the first year you've taken FPL seriously. It just lets you change all your players, basically. And then you keep that team moving forward until you make transfers and stuff like that. I think the conversation... Like, honestly, I think this is a little bit of a knee-jerk, right? Because the argument is now, well, Brighton have scored the most goals. We definitely need a Brighton attacker. And by the way, it doesn't matter that Matoma got benched because he can still score. But it's very easy to say that now Matoma's got 14 points. I mean, they scored... Hang on, let me just check this a second. Let me just see why I think this... Let me just check something before I say this. Yeah, okay. So... before this week, Brighton were also joint top scorers. They had 15 goals, so did Man City. Oh, no, sorry, they were ahead. No, 53, 15. Yeah, they were ahead. So Brighton were the top scorers last week as well, but no one was saying, we've got to have Matoma. Why? Because he scored 2 points against Man United, 5 against Newcastle, and 1 against West Ham. So this is just like Salah last week, right? We all know Salah's good, but he got 10 points, and then suddenly he's got to be in our teams. Now Matoma's got 14 points. All of a sudden, we don't care that he's getting benched. I just don't think you need him if he's going to be benched, especially for the next 3 transfers. That's what I would say. I think it's a bit of a reaction, just like we've all had with Sterling and Son, etc. Don't worry, we've all done it. I've definitely done it. So I don't know. Matoma game week 10, I'll consider. I mean, if Brighton go out of Europe, that would be helpful for FPL. Sorry, Brighton fans. Would you consider offloading Haaland for Salah from game week 9? Oh, do you know what? I looked at it. Because you definitely don't need to wildcard then. And also, you'd have the wildcard as backup to bring Salah back in. But I just can't go against Haaland. I just cannot do it. The pain, the possible pain is too much. So I would probably look at doing it in Game Week 8, actually, because Arsenal away, you can definitely captain someone else, I would say. So Game Week 8, so basically roll this week and then get him in Game Week 8. But is Brighton at home that bad of a fixture? I would say not. Like, right now, in fact, let me put up a poll. Let me just put up a poll. Who's the better captain? I'm putting up a poll here. Who's the better captain? Haaland versus Brighton at home or Salah versus Everton at home? Put your answers in the chat. But anyway, Man United away, fair enough. You could go against him because Salah has someone at home, Forest at home. But do people really think that Haaland's not scoring against Man United? And then in Game Week 11, it's Bournemouth at home, which is what you'd want to captain Haaland that week anyway, right? So if you've got the cojones to get rid of him, then go for it. I just don't think I can. I think Brighton at home is a good fixture. I think Bournemouth at home is a good fixture. And I wouldn't be surprised if Man City score 2 or 3 against Man United the way they're playing at the moment. I mean, it is away at Old Trafford. Maybe that'd be slightly trickier, but it's not like it hasn't happened before. I want to get Salah so badly, but can't do it without getting rid of Rashford and Bruno / Saka. Yeah, I know. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's in the same boat. I mean, if I was doing it right now, I'd sell Saka, but for Game Week 10 onwards, I'd probably want him. Have we hit 380k subs? Nice. Thank you very much. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do. Because now we've got to try and hit 385k subs. Let me change that on the ticker. We'll put 390. Let's get to 390, then we'll push for 400. Everton will park the bus. Brighton will play football. So there's been 898 votes. Keeps going up. 52% saying Salah versus Everton. 48% saying Haaland versus Brighton. I think a lot of those 51 or 52% people saying Salah are lying. And the reason I think that is because Haaland's just got 6 points and Salah's got 10. And I think that's swaying a few people. It's 50-50 now anyway. I think if Haaland does really well against Wolves and Arsenal, people won't want to not captain him against Brighton. For what it's worth, on paper, arguably, the Everton at home game is easier, right? I don't think it's an argument. Everton at home is easier than Brighton at home, but I think Haaland's great for that week. Honestly, I just can't go about him. I guess the real question, if you want to do that, is how much do you gain by selling Haaland? So let's say I want to get Salah. Let's just say right now it's for Mbermo. And I'll sell Chilwell to... Let's just put Share in for now. So that would allow me Haaland to... Oh, 9... Actually, I don't even need to sell Chilwell. Let's just say I've got Trippier in there. So I got 8.2. Let's just say you go for Watkins because of the fixture. In fact, let's just say you go for Darwin Núñez. Go all in on Liverpool. It does mean you get a midfield like Saka, Salah, Fernandes, Rashford, Son. You can change the Man United players to whoever you want, right? It's your team. Is that enough to get rid of Haaland? Is it enough? Like Bournemouth at home in Game Week 11. Are people brave enough to go without him that week? Because I think that's what you've got to do. If you get rid of him here, you've got to not... I think you don't get him back for Bournemouth at home. You try and go through Chelsea away, Liverpool at home, Spurs at home without him. But he's so good at home. And if you do go against him for Bournemouth at home, you've got Salah for Luton away. Which, to be fair, Salah could outscore him. But do we really want to take that on? I don't really want to take it on, to be honest. Partly because I've got... partly because of how badly it went last season, to be honest. Haaland at home is the best captain even against Arsenal. Possibly, although he's not playing at home, he's playing away. There's no need to force Salah in structure if team's better. But the thing is, I do think there's some weeks where maybe we could take Haaland on. Although, to be fair, it's probably... This is the thing, right? I've kind of thought about this both ways. I've thought, one, could I just get Salah and not sell Haaland? Sorry, can I get Salah and sell Haaland? But I've also thought about, what if I don't get Salah? What if I just don't get Salah? Because Haaland Game Week 9 captaincy is fine. Haaland Game Week 11 captaincy is definitely fine. Game Week 10 is Man United away, right? Again, Haaland will probably score. Now, to be fair, Salah does have Forest at home, but Saka has Sheffield United at home. So could we just not get Salah? Could he just not get Salah? Is that another way to play it? Maybe Salah doesn't need to come in. I think for that to work, though, Rashford and Fernando would have to start scoring points a bit more consistently. And like going without Salah for Everton at home, Forest at home, and Luton away, it just doesn't sound good to me at all. But for captaincy, maybe it doesn't matter. Like game week 12, Brentford at home, game week 14, Fulham at home. That's when you really want it. And by the way, I'm not saying you don't want Salah at all. I'm literally only talking about captaincy here. It could just be like game weeks 12 and 14 that you really want him. But to be honest, the easiest thing to do is just to get him for the whole run. I just don't think I can sell Haaland. But maybe Salah could wait until after game weeks 9, 10. Maybe. John. I'm not talking rubbish. I'm trying to talk about different things that people might want to consider. My plan to sell Son will probably be game week 10 if I wildcard. So yeah, I think there's so many different ways to think about it. I don't think there's a right or wrong. There's so many different ways you can play it. Who would I captain in game week 8? Yeah, so Salah's got Brighton away. I mean, I'd probably just captain Haaland, to be honest. Or Son against Luton away. In fact, Son against Luton away would probably be one that I would really think about. No European games, so there's no worry about it being an early kickoff or anything like that, I don't think. Yeah, that's something to think about game week 8. I mean, to be honest, I might just do that anyway. Because the thing is, I'm probably not going to have Salah game week 8. I think game week 9 or 10 is the earliest I'm going to get him. Yeah, I think no Salah can work, but like do we need to carry Spurs players like for Palace away, Chelsea at home, Wolves away, Villa at home? I mean, if Son's on penalties and keeps playing number 9, he could just be a long-term hold. But I think you can say that about so many players. There you go. Prediction: Son doesn't leave your team on wildcard. That's fine, but that means I've got no Man United players then. For Fulham away, Luton at home, Everton away. Okay, well I can get Man United players and keep Son. Yeah, but then I don't have Saka for Sheffield United at home, etc. This is the thing. This is what I said right at the start of the stream. We're going to sell for the foreseeable future. We're going to sell good players for other good players. That's going to be it. And also, if I'm keeping Son, that's surely less reason to wildcard. Maybe I should get rid of Rashford before Sheffield United. Maybe that's the play. All the no Salah talks have gone out the window if he scores a brace next game week. Yeah, like I said, I probably will just get Salah, right? I longer term, I want him anyway, so there's no point in really delaying it. But a brace doesn't change my mind on it. I know Salah's good. Like, he got 10 points last week. I didn't even blink about bringing him in. Like, Salah is really good. Like, I don't need him to score a brace for me to know that. Agree with no Salah. Many budget. Oh yeah, sorry, did that one already. And Trent, and there's no way Trent's coming in the team. There's just no room. There's no room for him. I'll just keep Maddison and not get Son. He'll still be heavily involved in goals and assists. If Son's playing number 9, he's better than Maddison. He just is. I mean, they're both good, but I'd rather have Son out of the two. Much more likely to get you a goal. Is Morris essential next week? I wouldn't say essential, no. Yeah, I think the next few weeks are quite interesting. I think there's a lot of ways to play it, and I think we will see a bit of divergence in terms of how people go. Trent from Game Week 9 will be essential again. I just think for anyone that thinks certain players are going to be essential from Game Week 9, 10, go and put a team together. So let's go with what we've heard in this chat so far. Man United players, definitely not essential. Son is going to be a season keeper. Saka, you're going to want from Game Week 10 because he's got Sheffield United at home. You've also got to get Salah in. And now, Trent is also essential, so he's got to go in too. So you put him in. That leaves me 3.4 million. 3.4 million to spend on my final midfield spot. Let me tell you now, Trent is not going to be essential. Trent is not going to be essential. And if he is, you've got to drop Son or Saka. So, and I got to be honest, I think there's almost no... I mean, Trent would be a nice differential, for sure, because most people are going to think, like I've just taught, to not get him. But at the same time, there's so many good cheap defenders. We don't have that with midfielders. So I don't think Trent is going to come in, to be honest. But we'll see. We'll see. Things can change. I think Trent is the best Liverpool defender when he's fit. So you never know. Yeah, Trent's dropping in price, but he's not dropping like $1 million or two. 0.1 million. Trippier's not essential. No player's essential, apart from probably Haaland. Trent can be covered by Trippier. Not really. Doesn't work. You can't cover a player from a different team. I mean, Trippier's a good option for sure, but even Trippier's hard to fit in with all these other players. Yeah, Man United players not needed. Like I keep saying, sell your Man United players or just don't buy them. Like, I'm not trying to force people to keep them. I'm just talking about my team. I know that I will probably still want to keep Rashford or Fernandes or both. Who knows? What's my favourite Premier League fixture? G-Nev said the North London derby is the most entertaining. It is a good fixture, yeah. I don't know. My favourite fixture is probably any one where Man United actually score a few goals. So hopefully that... Maybe Man United versus Sheffield United away. What is that background noise? It's driving me nuts. What background noise? Hang on, if I go silent, there should be no noise. Hang on. Oh, interesting. Why is the mic still picking up noise? Is that because I've... That's really weird. Is that because I tell... Hang on. That's really strange. Doesn't usually do that. I don't know. It should go pretty silent. Maybe I turned... No. I don't know. No one else seems to hear it. Okay. Son's better than Rashford. Yeah, okay. We're just going around in circles now. We're going around in circles. Chilwell Alvarez to cash Watkins for -4. No. Just do Chilwell to cash. I don't get why you want to swap Alvarez out for a -4. Is Son essential game week 7? Nope, don't think so. But he is pretty good. $33 million, Trippier, Haaland and Salah, basically fitting a team around them. Yep, a lot of money. You got the exact money to go Rashford to Salah without a hit. Would you do it today before Salah's price? Salah rising in price as well. Oh, my wildcard in game week 10 won't even be affordable. I really don't know what the sound is. I mean, my computer fan is on, but you shouldn't be able to hear it. Yeah, I mean, my computer fan's on, but that's always on. So I'm not really sure. It is picking something up, though. Usually it's silent. I don't know. Okay, it's nothing I can change anyway. Probably don't want to keep talking about different sound. I'll listen back to it afterwards. Oh, there you go. The mic's gone silent now. Hang on. Silent. MI6 listening. I think you're just winding me up now. Sound of people selling Pickford to Leno. Not me. Surely Pickford can get one clean sheet from Luton at home, Bournemouth at home. Probably not. Bournemouth definitely scoring, actually. Price rises might be affected by wildcards, yeah. For sure. Why do you want to get rid of Son in wildcard? I don't want to get rid of him. I'm just... Honestly, I'm not going to keep talking about wildcard for Game Week 10. It must be pretty boring at this point. I'm just saying, go and try and build a wildcard draft and then see how many sacrifices you have to make. Everyone thinks they're going to keep Son, they're going to keep Saka, they're going to keep Trippier, they're going to keep Salah, keep Haaland. You can't fit them all in. You've got to make a sacrifice somewhere. That's all I'm saying. And then just figure out how you're going to get to that over the next couple of weeks, or if you're going to wildcard. How much longer does Neto need to be this consistent for him to be an option of yours? He needs to have fantastic fixtures, basically, and I need to also probably have a need to have a player that cheap at 5.6 million. He's got Man City at home this week, and then Newcastle at home game week 10. It's okay. Sorry, in between is okay. Villa at home, Bournemouth away, Sheffield United away, but I don't see Neto coming into my team anytime soon. -4 to get Kabori? No. Definitely not. I'm not getting Salah because it would take me a hit. So the plan still is to get him in game weeks 9 or 10 and then just roll from there. Haaland looks lost. I wouldn't say he looks lost, but he is a punt, yeah. No rush to get him, that's for sure. Just a punt, just a punt. When should I get rid of Morris? Probably straight after the double, depending on how much money you got. Mbeumo, the wing back. I mean, hopefully that won't continue. I wouldn't take Mbeumo out for a -4. No chance. No chance. It would be nice if Mbeumo could keep getting penalties every other week, though. Double Newcastle defence next week or Saliba to play. I wouldn't buy a Newcastle defender to bench Saliba. But if I had the Newcastle defender already, I would play them ahead of Saliba, if that makes sense. I won't consider Matoma until game week 10. Thoughts on Tarkowski for the next 2? No, don't buy an Everton defender. If you got him already, fine, but don't buy him, I would say. Sell Gusto or Chilwell next game week. Well, Gusto's suspended. Chilwell might not start, but Gusto's definitely not going to play. If you're wildcarding, yes, I would definitely pick Salah. All right, I'm gonna go through some quick fire questions to end. Right, so just fire questions in. I'll try and answer them as quickly as possible, as many as possible, and I'll try and avoid all the wildcard stuff. I think we've done that to death this stream. When am I planning on using my bench boost? Much later in the season, after a wildcard at some point. Do I think Jackson will drop in price? Yes, probably today. Luka Dean, yes, shout. The problem is when Moreno is back, Lucas Dean will not play that much. Tarkowski will prove me wrong. I mean, I hope he does. I've got Pickford in goal. Share or Botman? Probably Share unless you need money for something else. Would you sell Saka, Fernandes or Rashford for Son this week? That's tough. Probably Saka because he's got Man City home, Chelsea away afterwards. But I get it. Most people want to sell a Man United player, so sell Fernandes instead. What should Johnson and Turner owners do? Who's Johnson got this week? Man United away, and I would just play Turner, I guess. I mean, if you've got a spare transfer, sell. But I don't know if it's a great week to buy a different goalkeeper, to be honest. So probably just roll. Do I need to do Share to Trippier? Nope. Share's perfectly fine to hold. Wilson for Awani. What about that? Awani has got Brentford at home. I would keep him, to be honest with you. Should I get Trippier for Chilwell with 1.8 million in the bank? As long as it doesn't stop you doing anything else, yes. Very good option. Is double Newcastle defence a risk? No. Decore a punt versus Luton. It's not the kind of player I would bother buying. Just going to have to take him out later. Chelsea's not a hard fixture anymore. I mean, this is where you need to separate FPL and real life. You can say that, but Chelsea haven't conceded more than 1 goal in any game so far. So actually, I would say for attackers, not that easy. You might go and get a result, a draw or a win or whatever like Villa did, but they haven't conceded many goals and their defensive numbers are pretty good. So I wouldn't say it's an easy fixture for FPL attackers, to be honest with you. Bowen, good option. I think Bowen's better than Ward-Prowse for what it's worth. And that's not just a knee-jerk because Bowen scored against Liverpool. I just think that is the option. I mean, I've talked a lot about Ward-Prowse, not particularly liking him that much. Cash or second Newcastle defender? Probably second Newcastle defender next 3 game weeks. Cash from game week 10 onwards. Mbeumo to Gordon saves 1.2 million. Sure, but what are you saving 1.2 million for? Oh, they did lose 3-1 to West Ham. Sorry, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And they were down to 10 men. My bad, my bad. Every game outside of that, they've only conceded 1 or less. Yeah, sorry, I got that wrong. Would you play any single game week over Bayer? Maybe. The thing is, I don't think Burnley keep a clean sheet against Newcastle. So you're only really getting 1 against Luton. So maybe I would play Newcastle defenders ahead of them. What will YouTube give you for 500k subs? Nothing. Literally nothing. You don't get anything at 500k. Although I'd love to hit it. 500,000 would be ridiculous. Have I seen Ted Lasso? No. Double up on Newcastle defence. I wouldn't buy Kabori if you don't already own him. If you got him, play him, but I wouldn't buy him. Newcastle might beat Burnley 8-0. I would bet a lot of money that they don't beat him 8-0. If I become a member, will you unblock me on Twitter? No. If I've blocked you, this might be a good reason for that. Maybe there isn't. Maybe there isn't. How far do you think you could head a football? I don't know. 20 metres? Nah, that sounds like a lot. 10 metres? Am I planning to do a wildcard guide for Gameweek 8? Possibly. Hold Chilwell for one more week or move to cash. If Chilwell starts, I'd rather have Chilwell than cash this week, I think. When's my next watch-along stream? Not sure. Okay, a couple more questions, then I'm going. Ward-Prowse fixtures are crazy. Yes, but I'd rather have Bowen. Thoughts on Aaron? No, fixtures aren't great. Yeah, but I think good fixture this week to keep hold of him. Worry about it after that. Missed my earlier super chat. Oh yeah, do you think the fixture chaos in recent seasons have made it easier to identify opportunities to play the chips and it's now less obvious? I actually think it's going to be more obvious this season because there's less chaos. I think the chaos has made us use chips in slightly different weeks over the last few seasons. I think it'll be the opposite this season. I just realised I missed loads of questions. Bench boost this. Turner, Estupinian? No, probably not. Carl Wilson, no hits, just random on my squad in Game Week 8. I mean, it's okay, but I don't think I'd bench boost it. Sterling to Diaby and Chilwell to Trippier -4. It's okay, yeah, it's okay. Jesmar, 1 free transfer. Pedro to Morris. Yeah, I like that. Haaland and Alvarez are the forwards. Yeah, all looks good. Estupinian, Chilwell or Saliba for Botman. Play Kabori over who stays. I would play Kabori, Saliba, and I would get Botman in for Chilwell. Seems pretty easy to me. Placement for Jackson before Game Week 10 wildcard. Probably Morris this week and then reassess afterwards. If you want someone longer term, I don't actually know who I'd buy forward-wise. Wilson, if you want to take a punt, maybe. What are the chances of Chilwell starting next week? I think higher now that Gusto... Right now, if I had to bet, I think Chilwell starts, but I don't know. I would think that, I guess, because I own him. But with Gusto out, it's definitely got to be a possibility. All right, I'm going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed that, make sure to give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're on our way to 400,000 subscribers. If you're listening on podcast and you made it this far, through all the wildcard chat and the worry about the noise in the background, please do rate 5 stars if you're enjoying the content on that as well. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for joining me. And I will see you again tomorrow for early thoughts. And obviously the next stream will be next Saturday for the earlier deadline, 11 a.m. Yeah, see you then.